I'd like to acknowledge as well the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, who are the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet, and pay my respects to their elders and their culture. Women's health services were established in the late 1980s across Victoria, and you will see that, we'll just get to the right one, that there is a women's health service in every region of Victoria, as well as some specialist services and a statewide service called Women's Health Victoria. They are very clearly run by women for women, that's the point. And they've established themselves as prevention and health promotion specialists over those years, and that's why they've been asked to lead this work. By the Victorian Government, by the Office for Women and the Department of Health, of course, it's very much involved, Health and Human Services, and it is a role that they have been trying to develop for a very long time. So the recent emphasis is one we welcome, but to go back, women's health services have been around for, well, it's since about 5 years, but have been still are very small. So it's really, really important that we work in partnership with all of you. There is no way that staff in one small service can make the kind of change that we need. We've seen enormous developments in the last maybe 18 months around the prevention of violence against women, but it is an issue that women's health services have been dealing with over all of that time. So we have in all of those women's health services enormous expertise now in how to do primary prevention work, and particularly in violence against women, but of course in a number of other areas where women's health development work needs to happen. It could be in sexual and reproductive health, or in particular in this service, a lot of resettlement work for newly arrived women goes on, and there are other services, of course, who do that work, but it's pretty much all in partnership with other organisations. So the strategy that you have in your hands today is the first one for this Southern Metropolitan region, and doesn't it look great? What an easy document it is to read. So every region now has a strategy, and they will be revised as time goes on. But it means that across Victoria, we're poised to take action on the prevention of violence against women in ways that other states perhaps are not, because this work has been ongoing now for such a long time. Sorry, wrong button. Of course, the other impetus to all of this work is the Royal Commission, which, as you would know, concluded its work recently and published its report just last week. And I'm sure you've all had it as bedtime reading, and you've read all, 200 and something recommendations. But I did want to point out that many of the recommendations give prominence to the importance of primary prevention. So we have to work across the spectrum. We have to strengthen the response end where when women are reporting that violence is occurring in their homes to them personally, and there are, of course, myriads of issues that need to be addressed at that end, but we also need to work much, much harder at the prevention end, and that's actually harder to do than it is to work at the response end. And I'm not undermining anything that happens at the response end, but working out how you change the culture that allows violence against women and children to occur, and how we change the attitudes of everybody is very, very challenging, and it probably won't happen in one generation. It's going to take a long, long time, but the Royal Commission has made recommendations that is going to see this work start to become much more embedded in our everyday lives. So one of them says that there will be a family violence action plan. We've not had anything like that in Victoria before. It's to be done within 12 months, which is a very short time frame for something of that magnitude. It will have action cycles, in other words, it'll be renewed over time, and it will be guided and obviously linked very closely to the gender equality strategy. I would like it to be called the gender equity strategy, but there it is. Because gender in... Some of you are laughing because you know how I feel about the difference between equality and equity. Inequity is about injustice, and that's why it's important to call it what it is. So we know that gender inequity is one of the main causes of violence against women, and the others are around sexism and stereotyping, which is deeply embedded in our society, as you'd be aware. Another recommendation talks about initiatives to oversee prevention of family violence activities in Victoria, and already we're seeing the agency Our Watch become stronger as it's become more established in the last couple of years. So Our Watch, if you're not familiar with it, the watch stands for Women and Their Children. So it is about violence against both women and children. And they, together with the organisation called ANROSE, which is the research arm of this work, will drive a lot of that policy and technical advice that's going to inform good policy. But it will be, we hope, the agencies such as Women's Health Services who are funded to do a lot of the work on the ground to drive the partnerships with all of you that are going to see this kind of widespread change that we're looking for. So we're looking to build the evidence, and there'll be a lot of workforce development that's going to need to go on in this space as well. And then the third one that I just wanted to highlight was about budget, which of course is where the Minister has told us she is this afternoon, and may that budget be a big one. You can't run a Royal Commission and then not allocate budget, can you? So the timing has been good from that point of view, but we do need to see ongoing. You can't fix this kind of thing on little projects that just last for 6 or 12 months. We need to work on this together for the next many decades, and the strategies that you embed in your organisations in the coming months and years are going to be critical to helping promote the kind of change that we need. So we're going to see the visibility of family violence in budgetary processes, and that's a first anywhere in Australia as far as I'm aware, and I watch this space. So I'm pretty sure it is the first time. So I want to acknowledge the staff of WISE, I'm sitting around various tables, who have led the work, but I also want to acknowledge the staff from your organisations who you have committed to this process of developing the strategy. It's that willingness to be involved in changing the story and changing the culture that we know can make a difference. So thank you to all of you for putting in that time and effort. And we also look forward very much, as Sue outlined, to working with you in the future. Emma's going to outline the process from here after kind of introducing you to the report, and we look very much to seeing the kind of developments that we're anticipating in the coming months. Thanks very much.